Look at us.
Here we are.
Look at us.
Hey.
Look
at
us.
Hi.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, Dean.
The Tower Chrysler Studios on the road today. Little road trip.
On the road with the Nation wheels.
We are oot and a boot. Today we are at one of our new homes away from home. We are at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. The
Griggs.
We're on the stage bar. We're on top of the bar. Pinder's usually under it. Today we're on top of it.
So I'd like to get behind it later as well. I've been on front of it.
Here we are. We are going to be a few times a month heading out of the studios in Marda Loop, coming here, doing our thing. Invite you to come be a part of it. Come see us. Going to be doing some afterburners here as well after some Flames games.
I was going to say, if the Flames don't get their shit together, what a place for an afterburner, right? If they didn't want to lose to awful teams continually, that would be a great place to do.
Well, and
an afterburner.
The playoffs.
Oh, of course, yeah.
All the big playoff
when
matchups.
they're a one seed welcoming a wild card, we could do our away games from here, right?
There is the Rhettster. What do you think of the Tower Chrysler Studios, bud?
I think you guys look sharp in there. Really good.
It's a good setup, Brett. You'd like it.
Yeah.
Coffee's free all day, baby. You just find that lovely lady on the floor with the coffee cart.
Alex was saying in the back it looks like you have sluts.
There may or may not be, but it's a sign that says slots.
That's comedy right there. That's some comedy. Let's not waste any time. We got some things to get to today. We sat here yesterday on the show as well. First game back after a road trip for the Flames. Yeah, but you kind of had an embarrassing outing against Detroit last week when you played them 2-1. It was really disheartening. Yeah, but that collapse against Ottawa 2 nights ago, that's got to be sticking in your craw. You're going to come out
fired up.
You're going to come out and avenge all of that. And I'll hand it over to you, Rhett, because they weren't blown out of the water. They lost the lead. They tied it. They were in the hockey game to a point. You got the goaltender in the net, I think, that everybody wanted, that we all felt we wanted it in the net. And even more so, a lopsided loss to Detroit than it was a week ago. Walk us through it. What'd you see?
I just saw, again, that team that isn't really committed to winning. And I don't think there's a lot of heart in there right now. I mean, can we press repeat on his earlier show and just go play the slots? Yeah. Because we're talking about the same thing. You're talking about teams that aren't supposed to be as good as the Flames are, and a team that should be desperate for a win in the Flames should be getting home. Take away though, it's hard to play at home after a long road trip. It doesn't matter. You're not in a position to take nights off, but I don't think they care enough, and it's sad, and I'm sick of talking about it, to be quite honest with you. Me berating the Flames for showing up and playing a shitty hockey game and having a goaltender get up soft goal. Well, you've heard me say it before. Everyone's bored of it. Enough.
He's fatigued. It's been a week of this show, right? It's been a week of doing the same show.
But
it's been more than that, though, right? For me. Yeah. I've done it for longer. You guys held out hope a lot longer than I did.
Kept waiting to see some stabilizing here, and it hasn't really happened. I mean, I think if there's one thing that this group has been, it's incredibly inconsistent and maddening. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get, to the point where I almost expect them to look a lot better against New York on Saturday, because, well, they seem to play well against good teams, and they seem to shit the bed against bad teams. It's wild to watch this group play, because even the beginning of last night, they had a really nice stretch, and you're like, okay, here they go. And then it's just like sleepwalk through the second. 3 offensive zone penalties. It feels like the game's on the line early in the third. You got a power play. It's like, okay, you get it within 1. Here you go. Instead, the other guys score, and I was at the game. I left. I was like, what was it, 15 minutes left? There was no way they were coming back. Like, they down 3.
That point you make about the Rangers, you come in, you expect them to play well. Don't you feel like that has more to do with the Rangers being the Rangers than the Flames answering the bell?
What do you mean? The Rangers should be harder to play than Detroit.
No, but that's what I'm saying. All the Flames seem to do is just play to the level of their competition. Yeah. I'm not, as I sit here, I'm not really prepared to give them any more credit if they're good Saturday.
No, to the point.
So you've got a good opponent, now you play better. Well,
that's the inconsistency we're talking about. That would be the season in a nutshell. To lose a season series, get 0 points against Detroit, and to beat Tampa at home like they did on the last homestand, or to, get 3 out of 4 points against the Rangers, who look really good if they were to win, for example. But you just don't know what you're going to get. Like if Trouba, Rhett said this last week, earlier this week, if Trouba doesn't run, Dubé and then Kadri, and Sammy Blais doesn't run over Milan Lucic, is it an invested physical game, or is it just, I don't want to give him too much credit for that, to your point, because of course you got to stick up for your teammates, but I don't think it's a bad group of players, but the fit isn't working. Like, I think individually there's a lot of very good players here, but for whatever reason, this group cannot put forth a 60-minute effort regularly. It's win one, lose one.
You got and what changes? Go ahead. You stick to it, and that's what I keep coming back to now, is that what changes? We've talked about it, but something has to change. Are you gunning coaches that you just gave? Are you gunning GMs?
I mean, I just look at the contractual status. I don't think that living's more of an issue than
where's
Sutter.
the issue? But where is the issue? Yeah. If you like to Rhett's point, if you really want to get at it, what do you do?
Well, you got 7 games now to the deadline, 6. So I think you give them that runway. I hope this team, honestly, rather than like a 2-2-3 mark or something into the break here, you'd almost rather they lose 5 in a row. Like by all means, we'd love 5 wins. 100%. Hard to imagine this group doing it, but you'd love the GM to get a good message, because if you know they're going to miss, shit, you could sell some assets and help turn this thing around.
They're just probably too good to lose that many, right? They're going to win a couple, and they'll stick in there and kind of ride it out and be close and annoy us even more.
Yeah. But I don't think you can do anything right now. I think you have to give them till the deadline. Your GM at that point, it's interesting. I mean, okay, so let's say they're out of it and there's a bit of a gap. Like, Treliving doesn't have a contract. How does the deadline even operate at that point? Like, do you let a GM without a contract run the deadline? Do you terminate a GM? Do you let it come to its expiry on June 30 and then they part ways? Like, I don't know.
Because he was without a contract. He didn't re-sign an extension until the season was over. So he's done a trade deadline as a lame duck, if you want to call it that. Okay. So, I mean, are they going to fire him in the next 2 weeks? I don't see it that way.
But it complicates.
What does that change anyway?
And what does it change? Go ahead.
Well, I get that he's, with everything that's going on, I'm expecting Brad Treliving isn't driving this bus come July. I mean, I'd be stunned. I mean, and I don't care. I'm not against Brad Treliving. I just don't see. Well, if you wanted him back, you'd sign him, or he doesn't want to come back. It's one or the other, right? And I don't think it matters, because he's assembled this team, and they're no effing good. So
I'm worried about who would replace him, Rhett. That's a concern for me. This organization does not have a track record of bringing in people that are good at this job. It's almost always first-timers or heavy retreads.
That's our fall shows.
Yeah,
that we can have that content. But to your point, Rhett, what does it change? If you really want to salvage this season and you feel that the playoffs you just get in. Chip in a chair, you get in, and anything can happen. What do you do? I want to bring up this. There was a tweet, and he's good at it. Player agent Alan Walsh, who is the player agent for Jonathan Huberdeau, among other people. Remember, he had the tweet that went out about Marc-Andre Fleury and had the DeBoer spear through the back. He is one of those guys, and he defends his clients, as you would expect. That's nothing new, but he's very outward about it. Here's the tweet that he sent out. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Also, negativity sucks the joy right out of players. CC the Calgary Flames. And he tagged the Flames in that tweet. So a couple of things. Obviously, the trying to just continuing, do it again. That is what they say insanity comes down to. And then the negativity sucks the joy right out of the players.
I think that's pretty obvious where that's pointed.
You brought it up a while ago, Retro, about the room. You just kind of got the sense that there wasn't something quite right. The Kadri comment, again, maybe we're sniffing. Maybe we're finding stuff that we really want to find. But when Frank Seravalli asked Kadri on the podcast the other day, the Flames make the playoffs if, and he says, we start playing like a team.
Yeah, not continue. Start
Playing like a team, and then there's talk of, and then there's the negativity. In a way, we all know this is happening, right? This is not breaking news, but what it does, it seems to enforce that view, if you have it, that there's things aren't right in the room, that the makeup isn't right. If it isn't obvious enough in the results, then we're getting enough clues, aren't we? There's got to be fire where there's enough smoke now. Jesus.
Negativity. This is Daryl. I don't think it's like, man, Chris Tanev sure does. He's so negative. Like, this is clearly about the way this coach goes about his business. And today's player is a lot different than the player 15 years ago, never mind 30 years ago. And, you know, we're now 15 years past that 04 team you played on, Rhett. But, like, you've always said, like, Daryl would break guys down in a sense and would be very negative. This is what he's talking about, isn't it? And it
is. It's 100% like what he's talking about.
And so I get that Alan Walsh is trying to defend or stick up for his client, but Daryl with an extension in his pocket getting called out on social media changes what?
It doesn't make him wrong.
No, he's
just
right.
Because Daryl's got a fucking extension doesn't mean that he's the right guy.
Oh, I'm not saying
if you want to fix it,
yeah.
Where's the problem?
I think the coach is a major issue.
The players are done with the coach.
Seems
You've
like
seen it. It's a tale as old as time.
I'm not saying they aren't, but it's also a fucking cop-out. It's an easy – I mean,
sure
Daryl pushes buttons, and he can be a real prick to play for, but he wasn't last year, apparently. He was a great guy yet last year. So,
well,
I mean, some of it comes down to the Brian.
You put up with it when you're winning, right? Don't you? You put up with stuff more?
My point is, I think you're not picking up on my point. Like, there has to be some accountability on the players, right?
For sure.
Like, Daryl hasn't changed that much from last year, and coaches wear out their welcome, and Daryl's just a tip, does it too, blah, blah, blah. But protect I mean, if we're talking about Walsh and his idiotic tweets that nobody really gives a shit, I mean, I'm sure it gives him a whole bunch of followers, and that's great, and I don't care. But to your point, Pinder, it doesn't change anything. Thanks for pointing out the obvious. Like, we needed you to clarify what insanity means. The issue I have is that he wants to protect his client. His client should go play hockey. Shut up and play hockey, put up some points. No one's going to complain about Jonathan Huberdeau if he's putting up points. And I don't care how much Daryl's a prick. He doesn't influence how you skate or handle a puck. He might, you can rise above the negativity and still perform. And there's been plenty of players. Dustin Brown did not get along with Daryl Sutter. They won 2 Stanley Cups. So go do your job.
Yeah.
And if Daryl's still a problem, sure, give him the heave-ho. But if there's, you know what I mean? What do they say? If you're pointing, there's 3 pointing back at you. Like, those guys in the room can take.
That's kind of the vibe, right?
Those guys can take a lot of responsibility too. Because go back over the course of the last 40 games. How many have they shown up and absolutely put a stamp on it and said, from start to finish, we're 60 minutes, we're going to take this one, we're desperate for a win? There's been games where they should damn well be. Yeah, there should be games where they're damn well should be desperate for a win. Guess what? They're not winning them.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge they're facing, Dino, is that, like, let's say the organization understands that Daryl is the issue and, like, okay, this is a problem. And I think Dustin Brown's a good example because he played well for Daryl to a point, and then he got shuffled down the lineup. Daryl talked about him as if he couldn't play in the league anymore. His numbers went to shit. Daryl left, and Dustin Brown had this massive bounce back. We talked about it last week with what's an example of a guy that got a big deal and you thought he was dead and he came back to life. We mentioned Skinner. Dustin Brown's another. He was played so far down the lineup and unused by Sutter that we thought he wasn't a functional player anymore. And I think he's bounced back and scored 30 after Daryl left. But I just this organization has no track record, if the coach is the issue, to be able to with an extension in his pocket, change the coach. And so even if you want to make that decision, I'm a lame duck GM and I want to fire the coach with an extension? Like, who the hell's greenlighting that?
No, I'm not saying that
You're
if
You're
you're
more
asking me
likely to
the
see
issue,
Daryl-
what are you doing? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna. You're more likely to see Daryl GMing than fired.
Which is worse than, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Well,
I-
whatever.
I'm not
if he
saying that
stays out of the
he's
room and his negativity is gone, then maybe it's not a nightmare. Let him go.
Well,
GM.
his draft and development, his free agents, it was really something he was.
I
out of his
understand.
league in,
I
to be
understand.
fair.
Yeah. But
It's a tough spot.
What have we gotten? What have we gotten out of the last 10 years?
Well, at least they're much more competent at drafting and developing. But again, that's a low bar.
Who?
They couldn't do that worth of shit.
I mean, I
In the
guess
90s.
I keep forgetting that a whole whack of guys have left, but also they had to be shitty to get those high draft picks. So
No, but they've mined
Anyway,
some good late picks. I don't think they're exceptionally bad. They're probably a middle third in the league in terms of draft and develop. And I thought Darryl was one of the worst when he did it. Like, awful.
well, he didn't have a great record on it, but I don't know. Anyway, I think we're splitting hairs here. I think that it's if Daryl's here, are they going to draft that much worse and be that? You know what I mean? As a GM, again, we're playing the what if game for I don't know what reason, but I don't think he was a good GM. But
yeah, I think what we're seeing here is a guy trying to amass power in the organization, and I see this as an almost untenable spot for the current GM.
Beyond that, now, that Daryl he won't care about what Alan Walsh or anything. But what it does do is how does Huberdeau handle this? Because now the guys in the room say, oh, your agent went to Twitter for you, you hate the coach, or whatever the thing is. The players, if there's a rift between he and the coach, or the coach just isn't a fan, they know that. But now how does Huberdeau react to this? Is it just the same? He's going to be asked about it in the media. The people are, Francis, they've got to go and ask him about this now. What does that do to him moving forward, even in the short term?
If he's not an idiot, he tells him to go talk to Alan Walsh. Walsh says, it's not my quote. Talk to he put it out there. Go talk to him. I mean, yeah, that's the response he should have as an answer. I didn't tweet anything about our team or our coach or our locker room. Yeah. My agent did. He can do whatever he wants. He's a free person. I've got no control over that.
And so I see what Alan's trying to accomplish, right? Like, he's putting a spotlight on a situation that's not functional, but he might be making it worse for his client. Like, how's Daryl going to look at Huberdeau when he walks in today? Like, I know what Alan's trying to do, but it might do the exact opposite, right?
You better be damn confident that the change is going to benefit your client as opposed to hinder and hurt him. And you know what? I'm going back to where at the start of the year when they made these effing trades and they had to sign these effing guys, and everyone told me, oh, you're an idiot because they have to sign these guys. They have to sign. We got to. I get that that Daryl Sutter is the focal point of all this, and he's the guy. When you're at the head of, if you're the guy driving the bus, yeah, you're going to be responsible for where it's headed. But they assembled a bunch of players that had never played together, that might not jive, and they signed them all to long-term effing contracts. Daryl didn't do that. Now, Daryl should be trying to work with these guys and make them better, and it feels like the problem is I don't think Daryl's deliberately sabotaging, and if that's the case, then you know what? This whole organization's a shits, and we should all stop watching. If this is how nasty it is behind the doors of the Dome, then we should ignore them and say, we'll come back when you get your shit figured out, because we shouldn't be, as fans and followers of this team, we shouldn't be forced to watch that. If there's that much infighting and it's that nasty behind closed doors, why are we paying for tickets? You guys figure it out. Call us when it's done and we can get behind a team. But Daryl didn't sign those guys. If those guys weren't signed to long-term contracts, we'd be treating this whole season differently. It would have been an experiment, and if it didn't work, you'd be talking about making a trade. Huberto getting him out of here. Kadri wouldn't be here, so who knows what that. Uyghur, same thing. You're recouping assets now. Now you're locked in with these guys that don't work, and you got to change the coach, the GM. It's a shit show. Who compiled this?
Yeah, if they don't get in, this is a shit show for sure. And it's hard to envision this team getting their shit together. The only thing that's saving them really is that Minnesota's in a tailspin and the West isn't that good. Like, it's the point threshold, the cutoff for the last playoff spot in the West is way lower than what you come to expect on a usual basis. That sort of 95-point line that usually is like, okay, if you get above that, you might get in. You're probably pretty safe to get in. It's way lower this year. And that's artificially, I think, making them look more competitive than they are, because they were going to, they get a point last night. They're in a fucking wild card spots. Like, it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if they can get in, everyone goes back to 0-0, and anyone in this stupid tournament is a hot goalie away from, maybe getting outplayed, but winning a series. And I'm not saying that's likely, but it feels like the only thing that can save this season at this point, isn't it? That they somehow get in and start looking like a cohesive unit that they've rarely done this year.
Well, let's go through the options of change. The change options. You can fire the GM. What the hell is that going to do? He's not in the room.
He's gone at the summer anyway, right? Yeah.
Right. Like,
and the only way you do that is if you want someone else selling at the deadline. And so you would have to make a decision quick, and someone else would have to come in and run the sale. But
we're talking about improving the team to get them into playoffs. How are we going to get in the playoffs and actually show that we have a chance at winning? Okay, well, you could get rid of the GM, change GM. So that to me, that does nothing. Okay, well, you're going to bring guys, you fire the coach. Okay, well, who's taking over? And what is the likelihood of that? Right?
I mean, he's got an extension.
Okay, I'm keeping track of these. I'm keeping track of these options.
So the GM, coach.
GM, okay, coach. Now, what else is there?
You can, or trades. And who wants to trade with this team? Because you don't know whether you should be trading or deleting guys.
Yeah, if you're trying to get into the playoffs at all costs.
Yeah, are we adding?
You trade your future. Because that would be horrifying. If you moved your first, or like Wolf or
what do you do?
What the fuck?
Yes, what do you do?
You got to stand pat.
You're going to
watch it play out.
What's it, Anderson for Pelche? Who's happy with that?
No, and I think that may be exaggerated. I don't think that makes any sense for the Calgary Flames.
It doesn't, but that's the whole problem with the team.
The rumor.
Yeah, that's the problem with the whole with the organization as it is. What are you doing with it?
Yeah, and you're standing pat right now, Rhett. I mean, it's the only thing you can do after walking through the list you gave us.
Because you're inspired by the shit. Because you're inspired by the efforts that these idiots are putting. Like, no, like they've quit.
That doesn't fix anything, right? If you want to fix something, standing pat isn't the answer. Change needs to happen. Whether it's the players somehow start playing better.
Yeah.
Or you have to change something. Standing pat is the comment. That's just what's going to play out, but it's not going to fix anything.
Yeah, no, and I don't think there's a smart external solution available. Like, sure, you could go trade your best prospects in your first, but Jesus, now you're just adding another guy that wasn't here and hasn't played with these guys. It's
the
a
best
tough spot.
thing. Well, here, I'll give you the answer if you want the right answer. You send Dustin Wolf's your goalie, and you can bring up two other kids and let them fucking play.
I wouldn't mind a Walker Doer right about now.
Listen, I was going to say if
I don't give a rat's ass what anyone complains about or what the salary cap situation is. You're spending the cap. You've got the money to do it. Send those pricks to the minors. I don't need Trevor Lewis on this team. Send him to a contender. Trade him to I'm serious. He's contributing nothing, and I don't know him or dislike him. Get him out of there. Lucic, send him to Buffalo. They need some strength. What? Richie, gone. Get him out. Mm-hmm. They're not doing anything. They're taking up space. And I actually think Richie would be fine if there was other youth involved and he could run around anyway, and he's dirt cheap. He ain't the issue to me. Backlund, gone. Gonzo. Trade him.
Next year is the last year for Toffoli, Lindholm, Backlund, Tanev, Hanifin, Zadorov. So if you want to move those guys, I think it all happens over the offseason or during next season.
That's the answer.
Of course, yes, but the offseason, I'm talking about now. How do we get better now?
No.
We don't get into playoffs if we wait till the summer.
If you're sitting here now and you look at this team, we aren't good enough. This collection, it's veterans and older guys and high-priced talent. You know what? It didn't work. Mm-hmm. How do you fix it? You start getting rid of players. You start changing the players. You start shaking up the roster.
But there isn't expiring contracts on guys that I think are coveted out there. I think next year you would get more appetite for these players when their deals are expiring, when there's more cap space. Like everyone's capped out.
But on the flip side, Ryan, you always hear you get 2 playoff runs out of a player if you trade for him now.
So I get what you're saying. I'm not against that. I just think that it's not like if you don't do it now that it's like, shit, we've missed the boat. I am curious about one thing. Is it possible this group of players could work and be a cohesive team and play well and be a playoff team under a different coach? We don't know the answer to that. And I don't know that we're going to find out because of the contractual status Daryl's got, but that's the only thing I wonder about. Like you watch Ralph Kruger's Sabres versus, Granato's Sabres. You see coaching changes on the island where you go to Trotz. Like I'm not sure that I have no clue what the answer is, but I don't know that you want either way. It feels like Daryl's an issue because you don't want him running a room of 25-year-olds, do you? Like if you're selling,
he's not the coach for that.
Right, and he's still got that fucking extension. Like it's a nightmare.
I think you look at that roster retro. You look at that to your point. All of those players that either expire at the end of this year, but even next year, as you say, you can look at that list. Who in your mind's eye is going to be here? Who is signing an extension? Who do you want to be here? Who do you realistically think is going to be a Calgary Flame beyond the end of next season? And if the answer is not that guy, then he's fucking gone. Yeah. And do it now. And I'm just picking a name. Noah Hanifin. You'd get something.
Oh, you get a shitload for him.
For Noah Hanifin.
Yeah, you would. You get a first plus, I'd assume.
Right?
He's a top pair minute munching guy.
And does it cut you right at the ankles if you're the Flames right now? Not really. You got to replace him. You got to move those minutes. You find you can go and you can chase the playoffs this year. You can get in and all that. The whole just give me a chance. Fuck. If you're hoping for 0-4 over again, what do you got to cross? Fingers, toes, cross them all because that's the only. It would take an absolute miracle.
So let's look at those guys. Backlund's been a career Flame. I think everyone would understand if he wants to move on or the team wants to part ways. Like if this is going to be a rebuild, it doesn't feel like a spot you want to be at in the last few years.
I think he wants to stay here forever because I think he's here forever.
I was going to say I don't want to interrupt you, but he's maybe the one guy I think that would have the roots that would.
And so let's go elsewhere. Like Toffoli's an easy guy to move. He's a scoring guy that can play in the top 6. That's easy. A guy like Lindholm is a cornerstone piece for this organization. And here's my gut on Elias Lindholm. He ain't having a fun time this year. And so if you wanted to talk extension with him this summer, he's going to say, I'm not even thinking about it if the coach is here. And so again, the coach becomes a massive issue here. Like I think if you like Lindholm and Hanifin and you want to build around them, you could bring them back. But there's no way they're signing up for more of this shit. They look like they hate their lives. He's on pace for 20 fucking goals.
I don't know.
Like, who wants to sign up for more Daryl if you have the choice to go elsewhere? I don't think it was a small part of where Matthew Tkachuk decided to do what he did. Like, do we really? Am I?
I don't necessarily disagree, Retro. I just look at it from real life standpoint. If you're at a job and you like your coworkers and you like what you do, but you hate your boss.
But why? I get it. And I'm not saying, and Daryl is a lightning rod and he's a prick and all of it. But Lindholm's a guy that had success with him last year and didn't hate him. And all of a sudden he does. Now that can change year over year. All I want to say is don't give the guys in the room passing grades just because they're players.
Yeah, no one's
take some effing responsibility, right? Hey, do you know what I mean? Like
Daryl have been easier to get along with last year? Would Daryl have been easier to play for last year when they weren't struggling 100%. To this degree?
100%.
And the other thing is, Of course, winning is the greatest medicine, right? We get it. Like, you can put up with a lot of shit when the wins are stacking up. And just like on the flip side, you want to see guys that were pals that all of a sudden don't even want to look at each other. You just throw in 5 losses in a row. Like, it's poison. We get it. We understand that. But there's also the grind that he asks out of you. And you're like, okay, the end of the year's coming. Like, I'm almost there. Am I going to re-up to do more of this? Or like, when I got buddies playing on other teams, they love the fucking guys. I'm talking to Mika Zibanejad in New York. They love Gerard Gallant. Holy fuck. Like, why would I sign up for this? If I can go anywhere, why would I sign up for more of this grinding, playing every single game like it's game 7? It's not.
I listened to the Spit and Chicklets podcast this week, and those guys in the same podcast, they had Rod Brindamore on and Ryan Suzuki. And Brindamore, we've said right across, who wouldn't want to play for this
Love
guy?
the guy.
Everybody that played with him respects him. All those players love him. He's got a very good team, but they love playing for that guy. You hear him talk, you just see the way he conducts himself. Yeah, I would take shit from that guy. If he comes at me, that it hits me hard because I know where it's coming from. Suzuki comes on in the same podcast. They ask him about Marty St. Louis. He's like, we fucking love Marty St. Louis. The guy's unbelievable. He's hard on us, but we know what he's done. He's fair with us. And they're a shitty team. They're out of a playoff picture.
Yeah.
I just don't know, man. I like Daryl, right? We've shot the shit. We've known Daryl for years.
I'm not making an excuse for
Daryl.
I'm not trying to deflect from Daryl. I think Daryl is a major, and he has to be. He's the head coach. You have to be the guy that where the buck stops, right? Like, you have to be that guy. All I'm saying is that there are guys in that room. We said it 3 months ago when Daryl was apparently being a tyrant. Well, where's the leadership to deal with that? Aren't there supposed to be guys in that room to deflect that and figure it out, that have been around him? Again, Lewis, Toffoli, Lucic, Lindholm, Backlund, Tanev, whole bunch of guys that have been there long enough and should be. Like, again, I think Daryl probably is grinding these guys. But if they don't have any backbone to stand up to them, then, yeah, it's going to go shitty. Anyway, we're all in agreement. We are all in agreement. Yeah. I just think that there's a little more responsibility that has to be put on the players as well. I'm just saying.
Boy, and you mentioned,
I'm not.
Sorry, Rhett. I just paused because Cron asked me about it last night on Afterburner, and you mentioned Dustin Brown and that LA Kings team. And that Kings team, they got to the point that maybe hate is a strong word. They were done with Daryl. And they locked the fucking door on him. And you think of who was in that room. Carter, Brown, Doughty, the leadership that they had in that room. They told him, hey, fuck you. This is our team. You're the coach. We get it. But they ended up taking over, whether that's strategy on Sutter's behalf. And it's not the first time it's happened. It does happen.
Yeah, Bob Hartley, Colorado, another.
But as you take the roster, and Cron said, who are the guys in the room that are going to be locking the door on the coach and saying, no, we fucking got this. Lucic is done at the end of the year. He's maybe that guy. Is Lewis going to Lewis is the only reason the guy's playing 15 minutes, 16 minutes a night. Like, it should be his best friend. Who? Tanev? Maybe. Well, seems awfully kind of quiet. I don't know who it is.
But, okay, so let's say pick a guy and they do go talk to Daryl. What does he do? Is Daryl going to change his ways? I just don't see it. It's the most stubborn cat in town. Like, oh, sorry, guys. Am I being too hard? Today it's joke of the day. Why did the chicken? Like, no, he's still Daryl. Like,
no.
Explain to me how this works.
I'm explaining to you right now is you don't tell Daryl how to do it. You tell the guys after he walks through the room just to ignore it. We know what we have to do. Just fucking ignore him. He can rant and rave, scream, yell. Let's laugh about it. Let's go have a beer. Let's enjoy being together. If you allow him to influence your day-to-day feelings, well, shame on him, shame on you. Right?
It's probably hard to do, right?
It's not easy. It's not an easy thing, hard. But that's how it has to work. You're not going to go in and tell Daryl to F off and change your ways. What you're going to do is say, he's giving us a system, and I don't even think he does much of that. I'm guessing the assistant coaches do. And we have not talked about the assistant coaches. Perhaps it's the assistant coaches that need to take a little responsibility, and they don't understand how to deal with Daryl. And they don't know how to be the in between the players and Daryl? I don't know. I'm not saying that is what's happening, but there are assistant coaches. Are they doing everything they're supposed to?
There's no way to
right?
know, right? I mean,
Jimmy
it's hard to
Playfair
imagine.
and
Right?
Rico, Jimmy Playfair and Rico made everything fun for the guys. They knew Daryl was the heavy.
Yeah.
And they interacted differently with the guys. Who knows? It's a mess. It's a mess.
It is. It's a puzzle that looks really hard to fix with any sort of ease. Like, it feels like there has to be major surgery and a lot of pain. And the habits of the organization are not to have two coaches on payroll. They really don't like it. When they do, they go get cheap replacements that aren't head coaches, like Jeff Ward and Glenn Gulletson. So I just if you're not going to entertain the coaching change, and I get it, right? I don't want to absolve the players of responsibility. It's just you can't swap out half a roster. No. You can't change a coach. It's the nature of the business. And if that's not an option for whoever is going to run this team this summer, whether that's Treliving, whether that's the owner, whether that's Conroy, whether that's someone else, like, if that's not a card to play, it looks like a lot of misery in the near term.
Well, which speaks
and you look
to
at
the
Daryl
ridiculousness
Sutter.
Of why did you sign him? Like, where the hell did that come from?
The extension made no sense to me. I don't get it. And I'd love to find out more about that. If you're a GM that knows a guy has a short shelf life, we see coaches all the time coaching into the last year of their contract. That used to be a really big thing. Oh, a lame duck coach can't do it. He'll have no power. It happens all the time now. And I just thought at the time, like, why? It's a totally new group, and he's had one good year. Like, are you worried about Daryl leaving as a free agent? Like, no. If he does great, you pay him. And if he doesn't, you're like, okay, well, the shelf life of the average coach at 2.5 years. Okay, that's about it. I mean, that extension made no sense to me, and whether Daryl wanted it or the owner wanted it or somehow the GM, I have the toughest time believing that was a front burner item for Brad Treliving. I really do.
I agree with that. So I think we're kind of answering the question, aren't we? Without knowing the answer.
We have hunches, but I don't know.
Why would Treliving feel the need that he wouldn't?
Yeah.
So who would want it? Would Daryl want it and the owner want it?
Daryl would want it.
Daryl would sure like it.
The owner's a smart cat. I don't know that the owner doesn't know that this guy's got a short shelf life too. Like, it just felt odd, and it came out of nowhere. Like, what? Huh.
And for Daryl, I was going to say, and we can move on. Here's a guy who's top 5, top 10 across the board in games coached and wins and all of that. He is doing things the way he believes they should be done that have worked for him in the past. Is he now, at this point in his life and coaching career, going to start questioning what he's doing? You have to morph and change. But he's doing things the way he's done things.
And he's expecting his players to respond in certain ways, and they aren't. So the mix is wrong. And
yep.
You blame whoever you want, but it ain't no good.
And you know what? You can blame Afterburner.
Yeah, I fucking blame Afterburner.
That's some bullshit.
What the hell did we do to this team, Rhett? Fuck.
2, 6, and 4.
Ooh.
2, 6, and 4. Don't blame us. It's not our freaking fault.
2 wins and 12?
2 out of 12. It's decent.
Ugh.
Again, and then you look at it and you go, they just need to get on a run. They'll be right there. It'll be fine.
It's the shittiest fucking division in hockey. You look at it, it's like, okay, the Vegas has no goalies you've heard of, and Stone's out for maybe the season. Edmonton can't defend worth fuck. Like, sure, they can score 5 a night, and they're a wild card team. They have the best player on the fucking planet. They're a wild card team. You don't know what they're getting for goaltending. Seattle's coming back to earth. They might sell because they understand they got 20,000 people on a season ticket wait list, and that it isn't about this year. If they've got a guy that's expiring, like, if you can go get some more young players to build around Wright and Beniers and these good young players, they might sell. Calgary, it's like, fuck, on paper in the summer it looked good. It sure doesn't look good on ice this year. Like, this division is so bad, they're still in it. Like,
you know what though? What's frustrating, and I said this to Croner last night, it feels like, because we do this stupid show every day, and you go over the checklist of things that we didn't like. Well, bring up the kids, bring up Pelche. Why Phillips? Bring up Phillips, bring up Pelche. They bring them up. Oh, okay, not instant.
Well, 11 minutes for Phillips.
Hang on. So then Pelche, like you get Pelche up. Pelche's up. Well, you got Lucic on the second line. Get him off. Pelche to the second line. Okay. Well, you know what? Now you're playing the wrong goalie. You got to get Vladar in there. Play Vladar more. They put Vladar in last night. 5-2. Well, fuck. And so you look at it now. It's like, well, now what do you want? I don't know. I'm with you. I feel like the roster construction we're can they go on a run? Anybody can, right? You look across sports, there's been miracle Cinderella runs, but it just looks like you look at it, wow, you better put Huberdeau with, I will say this, Vladar has lost his last 2 and is 10-2-3 in his last 15. I hate the sense that Daryl's going to go back to Markstrom tomorrow because it feels like what he'll do, but I feel like it would be nice to give the guy a run. And maybe it doesn't work. Last night was not a good example of it, but he has been pretty dependable outside of only a couple games here. I'd love to see it. Not that that's the be-all and end-all, but it's like
I'm fine with it.
On Saturday, I feel like it's 1-0, 3 shots in again for the Rangers.
I'm fine with playing Vladar. It's just I'm not after last night. I don't know that
it's not the magic potion, right?
Yeah,
it's only one, and it's his worst game.
You know what? I'd have more excitement if they brought Wolf and said, "You go. We're going to run with you." I would be like, "Yes, let him run."
It's interesting conversation. I mean, I know that the detractors of that move would say young goalies can be ruined by coming up too soon, but it's not like you're bringing him in to run the show like Carter Hart here. If he doesn't play well, you can send him right back, right?
If you've got
Jacob a veteran goalie that's making...
No, I'm not saying now, but if you were out of it with 10 games left.
But that's not what you mean, right, Rhett? You're talking like bring him in, play the kids come in at the end of the year when you're out of the playoffs or whatever. Yeah. You give him NHL time, but he's not ready to be a potential answer to the situation.
Something major has to change to create a bond or an explosion or a whatever in that dressing room. There has to be a binding moment, a come to Jesus, a rally cry, a song because you're drunk in Philly and you're the St. Louis Blues and we found a song. You need something to galvanize this crew. You could fire people, change this, there are different options, but the only way that this team makes the playoffs and makes you feel like they got any chance is if something happens. Maybe it's a brawl. Maybe it's a this. I thought the Ranger thing might be beautiful.
Trouba's hits. And then Anderson gets hit on his scooter. There they are. They didn't take.
Let's rally.
There were your moments. Like they've had 2 in the last week and a half.
Sleepy
the Trouba game.
And that's
fights,
why, to me,
Rasmus. Come on, boys.
And Daryl can make it miserable, but Daryl doesn't make you not like playing with your teammates. And to me, that they might not like playing for Daryl, but they sure don't love playing for each other.
That's fair. Doesn't look like it.
Let's do the Pinder Report. It's a presentation of Village Honda. The website is villagehonda.com. The all-new CR-V Hybrid, it arrived. We were there for it. It was a big night. The new Honda Passport Trail Sport is in stock. The new Accord, the newly redesigned Accord, is on the way. Many good reasons to head to the Northwest Auto Mall and visit everybody at Village Honda, villagehonda.com. It is the Pinder Report.
Fellas, last night at the Dome, the first of a 3-game homestand for the Calgary Flames, the Detroit Red Wings. Chance for revenge, finally, Dean. After the disheartening 2-1 loss in Motown. No, not unlike the first time they met 8 days ago. A goal in the final minute of a period seemed to swing momentum in the contest. Another loss, 5-2 for the Calgary Flames, falling at the hands of Detroit. The Wings get all 4 points of the season series. If you missed it last night, still out there on the interwebs, Afterburner, it was Brent Cron sitting in the guest chair with Dean last night. Let's have a listen.
But this does not look like a team. This just looks like another 3 forwards and 2D every 45 seconds to a minute hopping over the boards. It's all it looks like right now.
There's no purpose. There's zero purpose. There's no desire. These guys are just hopping over the boards, like you said, just doing their job, so-and-so, quote unquote, just getting out there, going in for a shift change. There's nobody that's getting pissed off out there. There's nobody that's losing their mind. if you're going to lose a game like this, grab somebody and beat the shit out of them. Do it with a purpose. Get yelled at. Where was this emotion all game? I don't care. There's zero emotion out there from any of these guys. All there is leaning over with their sticks on their shins, with their head down. Oh.
Yeah, not their most inspired effort, Dane, to be sure. Felt like that Dubé goal, okay, maybe, but then no, right back the other way. And 3 ozone penalties, like, geez, it's just they didn't look like a smart hockey team nor a hardworking one last night. It was go through the motionsville.
And felt for Vladar early. The first goal goes off of Stone's hand and in.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you look at the angle, it was probably going to miss the net altogether. And
Last minute of play
Stone
there.
and in, and then Stone takes a penalty and they score on that power play. It was one of those nights.
And the bingo card would have been full. They had the post early with Huberto. Like, it was all the hallmarks of this season were on display last night.
And you left.
I don't leave. I left.
Duttons?
I was like, what's the gift for the guy just throws up the paper? Fuck it, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
Upset
we're
the
done.
table.
5-2. Like,
Duttons, all right.
What's left? No. Ship. But here's Alan Walsh. He didn't finish early. He waited till the very end, and nobody represents their clients and goes to social media and tweets things that probably won't help anything at all for his client, like Alan Walsh. Noted Michael Frolik, usage expert, Alan Walsh. I get what he's trying to do. It's just not going to work, Alan. Sorry. Like, was I being too hard on your clients? I'll bring him in. We'll have tea this morning.
I get the negativity part because I know where he's taking a shot at there. I don't get why he's giving us a definition.
The quote for people listening. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Also, negativity sucks the joy right out of the players. CC, the Flames. Yeah, I mean, is it line mates? Is it the coach? Like, how to what scale is he talking about?
Well, and if it is line mates, F you, Huberto. It's not like you've played with the same line the whole year. You've had different line mates. How about you perform?
It's fucking Lucic there 3 weeks ago.
I was just gonna say
an upgrade on his line.
I like that you cleaned up the FU for the listening audience. Thank you.
I'm cleaning it up for you.
Yeah.
You know what? Also would tie into maybe not being happy is not having good seasons. Here's a little tidbit from the hockey writers. The 2 players in the NHL with the largest point per game drop from last year to this year, you guessed it. Both members of the Calgary Flames.
Both.
Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau.
And Kadri was our all-star.
We got the number, right?
Come on.
Yeah.
And I bet if you spun it and looked at goaltending numbers,
Big drop there,
you'd
too.
probably have a significant
Well, I
drop
know
from
Markstrom's got 9 less shutouts, so that probably wins that category.
8 or 9 less shutouts. a lot more. Like the number for the goals against is a lot higher.
Yeah. Their 5-on-5 save percentage, 5th worst in the NHL. That's bad. Really bad. Standings look like this. I mean, for all the negativity, it feels like we're talking about a Connor Bedard team. Sadly, we're not. They're right in the mix for the final spot in the West. Yeah, tied on points. And Minnesota's got a game in hand, and they're circling the toilet bowl right now as well. It's a race to the bottom, folks.
Minnesota's lost 5 of 6, didn't play, and passed them.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
Here's your schedule coming up. If you want to learn about the Flames, Rhett, I know that the deadline's halfway through this, but it's pretty much a row of playoff caliber teams for the next 10. This courtesy Audi.
Doesn't matter because you don't know how they're going to play against shitty teams. How do you know they're going to play bad against good teams, right? It might be the best
It might
thing.
actually, in a weird way, be a good thing for them, but it is not powder puffs and not that you've ever chalked up 2 points with the Flames anyway this year. There it is. Rangers, Philly, Arizona. Okay, so Arizona's not great, but they're playing loose and free. Philly, not sure exactly what you are. The rest are pretty established playoff teams, and the Wild, who you're competing with. 2 games against the Wild in 4 nights. Pretty huge in March.
The other thing
I wish you had
we
those
haven't
before
brought
the
up,
trade.
Yeah, seriously.
Magnus Hellberg, back up.
Wow, third stringer to start the year.
Mads Sogard,
third stringer.
Jackson Stauber,
third stringer.
They've all beaten you.
Yeah.
They've all beaten you.
You've been Christopher Gibsoned a lot this year.
So if you're kind of, oh, geez, what's the lineup tonight? Oh, maybe a soft touch here for forget about it.
No such thing with this group, to be sure. NHL, we're getting ready for that outdoor game. I know you're pumped, Rhett. You're flying down to Raleigh, is that right? Go see the.
No, but my kid's playing
Kings
in
and
the outdoor
Caps?
game on Monday. My kid's playing an outdoor game on Monday.
In Buffalo or in
Where
Carolina?
where the college game is being played in Cleveland,
Oh, there you go.
Brown Stadium.
Huh.
Anyway,
Do you know what
sorry for
colleges are
interrupting.
playing? I'm putting you on the spot.
It's Michigan and Ohio State.
Oh, wow. That'd be fun.
Is BMO going to be there?
Probably will be.
Kissing babies. They love him there.
Do they?
He was very good. He was a very good Wolverine.
Major League Baseball players arriving, showing up, and opting out of their contracts, Dean, as Manny Machado met with the Padres, with the media. Said, yeah, I'll opt out after the season. There's a lot of cash out there. Got to go get it, baby. And why wouldn't you? It's remember like the last couple off seasons, it was like no one was getting signed until January. They're icing these guys out. All the money was thrown around this year. They got that new CBA down. I was like, yeah, if I can make another 5 sheets a year, why wouldn't I opt out? I can still sign with the Padres. What the hell? And he's not the only one that doesn't really care to lock up long term. Is superstar unicorn Shohei Ohtani has said, I'm an Angel for this year, and that's what I'm focused on. I'm not thinking or talking about anything beyond that. He gone or he gone?
Come on, Toronto. Get him.
Spend, though, right? Like they do spend.
They spend, but they don't win, right? That's the problem that Ohtani's probably looking at. Like, you want to win. It's not like he's going to get his money anywhere, right? As a free agent.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
don't
well,
want
you
to
win,
be
don't you?
Anaheim. What kind of history are you going to leave in the game if you're playing Anaheim?
Feel for Mike Trout, right?
Like Trout.
Trout's taking the money and it's
Little
like,
Trout.
man,
Trout, silly little Trout.
pretty little Trout.
Jump right up.
Tigers back in LA. Rhett, his first tournament of the season, the Genesis. It's kind of his tournament, right? He's got the big sponsorship deal with them. He hosts. And he said, I wouldn't be playing if I didn't think I could win. Proof of that on the 14th today. This is earlier this morning, Retro.
Usually that 5 to 8 feet. This on a superb line if it's the right weight.
Yeah, big kick and roll towards the cup. Tiger Woods at 14. Tiger Woods at 14. Inside a foot.
3 inches.
Sort of his will.
Looks
4
fat.
inches.
Usually that
Yeah.
Tiger fat.
Well, he's not fat.
You know who also looked fat, but is definitely not, was an inebriated Travis Kelce, who was a phenomenal MC yesterday in Kansas City at the Super Bowl parade. This is a very small sampling. There is a ton of Travis Kelce hyping up the crowd like The Rock at WrestleMania. He was unbelievable.
Run in back. Travis, hey, and Trail, in this thing how we supposed to. You gotta fight for your right to party! And we gon' party!
Yeah, they are.
Run
That's
in
Friday.
back. Travis,
We're going to end on that note. They're going to party. And so should you, Rhett. What a
That
enjoy your
song is
weekend.
still such a
Me
banger.
too.
It is fair.
Oh, man.
Party.
Well, you got to fight.
I was ready to just celebrate a huge Flames win at Dutton's last night. It didn't happen. I'm ready. Let's go.
Pinder reported presentation of Village Honda. Get those detailing packages. They start at just $79.95. Protect your vehicle from the harsh elements of winter and just have a beautiful, pristine, clean car. Book your details today online, villagehonda.com. We're here in the Tower Chrysler Studios, which is on location today. We're at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Look at this, eh?
It's usually when I'm in a casino at this time of day, it's I'm in Vegas.
That's right.
I can't sleep or something's going on. You're just kind of walking, sifting around. Oh,
It's Vegas. Of course you want to
play some three card. Play three. No, I'm not going to play. Oh, what's that?
Huh?
Caribbean poker? I don't know what I'm
Roulette?
do you like to touch the felt, Rhett? Do you like to get out there, play some cards every once
Tickle
in a
the
while?
felt?
That's right.
Oh, I was a big gambler. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know where I want to go more here. Him regaling us with gambling stories, or the time he went back to the camera room and asked the people to follow some girl around the casino.
Yeah, how did that go again? It was just someone.
You got to have
Did she
some
steal your
pull to
wallet,
get
or-
that accomplished.
It's
Oh,
serious.
the old
Yeah,
friends.
Feels like a
Just old
violation.
friends.
I think this
Old friends.
I think this blonde in a tight miniskirt. I think she took my wallet.
Old friends.
I'm going to need her contact info as well because I may press charges.
I need to know what room she's in.
Montana's barbecue and bar. It is the family day long weekend. Why not gather the kids, gather the family, gather your buddies, do whatever. Head out to Montana's barbecue and bar. Go to montanas.ca, find the one nearest you, and just start chowing down. There's daily deals. They've got the comfort menu. And, of course, there's a draw at every location. You could win with every
fridge.
You buy a Molson Canadian, you get entered into the draw for the fridge. You could win a trip to the NHL Awards in Nashville as well. And as well, on our social media, we've extended it to Sunday night, so you got a little extra time to get onto the Flames Nation social media. Find the Montana's page. It'll be pinned in there. And do accordingly. You tag and you like and you follow and you get in there. You could be winning a $100 gift card to Montana's. Maybe you use it. See, I was going to say maybe you use it on Wednesday for all-you-can-eat ribs, but you shouldn't use it Wednesday because you just go all-you-can-eat. You'd get a lot of wings on half-price wing night.
You get a lot of taco and beer, too.
Yeah, there you go. So go to our social media, Flames Nation, on Twitter and Instagram, and check out the Montana's posts and get in there. We'll have the winner for you on Tuesday because we're not here on Monday.
We will have an afterburner.
Day off. Is Monday a day off?
Monday afterburner, Rhett. You in Monday? Afterburner? Afterburner. 2 o'clock matinee against the
Philadelphia Flyers.
You're traveling on Monday, you're saying you'll be back?
I'm traveling on Monday. I know there's one game, probably depend. Anyway, I'll make it. I don't know if I'll be ready to go immediately following the game. 2 o'clock Mountain Time?
2 Mountain, 4 Sabres time.
4. Okay. We should be all right. That should be close.
I like it. They'll be wrapping up a 2-1 homestand with back-to-back wins over New York State teams. So Philly's not New York State. Whoops.
Nope.
I thought it was
What's the Groundhog Day animal? Right. Let's do the Betway Bets of the day.
Speaking of New York State teams.
Yeah, New York State teams. The Oilers are taking on the New York Rangers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tonight.
Two of them.
It's that heated. There it is.
Color rivalry, yeah.
Rangers at Oilers. I'm going to take the Rangers on the money line, plus 105.
Plus money for the Rangers. 6 in a row? Are you kidding me?
They've been pretty good. And you know what? I've been dipping in here and there with the Rangers and Zibanejad and all that, and it's been coming through. I'm going to go with this one. The Nuge and Zibanejad. If each of them get a point or more, plus 110.
Sneaky good year for Nugent Hopkins as well.
Sneaky good year. Scored the other night. And it seems like Zibanejad's all over it.
66 points or something? Sheesh.
Isn't it wild how many guys are having career offensive years for the wild card holding?
Yeah.
It's like Barry's having a monster year. Hyman, best year of his career. McDavid, maybe the best of his.
Barry's got as many points as Huberto.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't have more, to be honest. He's on a heater.
Who's his agent? Is he tweeting?
Is Barry's agent? Was it Barry agent? No.
Those are my Betway bets.
It's not Len. My Betway bets of the day. I'm going to stay in that same game, Dino. Artemi Panarin has loved life since, for a while. But now that Tarasenko's on that line with him and Zibanejad, piling up points, scoring 2. I'm going on the 2-point night for Panarin, plus 187, the big number. And I'll also take a Zibanejad goal and a Rangers win. Both of those things happen, plus 275. Should be a fun one. It's the first playoff team the Rangers have faced since mid to late Jan. It has been a long run of mediocre clubs, and I feel like doesn't mean the Oilers are in trouble, but they should be at least up for this one. There's been a lot of dreary bottom feeding. They lose in the shootout to Philly, they lose to Detroit, they lose to Montreal. Kind of. They've lost 3 of the last 4, so we'll see what they do tonight. That way.
It's the Betway bets of the day.
Guess it happens to everybody.
Guess so.
2 wildcard teams just doing, what you do.
So it's a Friday retro. Are you going to swing by the old liquor store? What's on your docket?
I got a 5-hour drive ahead of me, buddy. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
To the Cleve, eh?
Yeah, I'm going to check out that train derailment where all the toxic
Don't
chemicals.
Breathe. Rhett.
Yeah.
Danger. Drive away from that.
As close as possible. Dumb. Tournament is 2 hours. Is 2 hours too close? That's what I think.
So what is the situation? Do you have to drive right by it?
We don't drive right by it, but we're driving towards it.
So
We're getting closer
because you're in
to
Buffalo
it.
and your kids are playing sports and you're going to all these different locations, some of them more, exciting than the other. But so where are you going this weekend?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Rock and Roll Hall
One
of Fame?
kid's-
Like, do you go and say,
no.
let's see, what are we going to do in Cleveland?
One kid is going to Cleveland. One kid is going to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, which is the one I'm attending.
Yeah, that's the one near the trouble too. Right?
Yeah. They're actually both about 2 hours away. I'm not overly keen on it, to be honest with you.
Trying to do the math on the 5-hour drive or something, 2 hours away. You're doing both on one swing by?
2 hours from 2 hours from the train derailment.
I see what you're talking about. Okay, that makes more sense.
Irritable bowel. A lot of stops. This trip's taking me 5 hours. I'm stopping to take a shit all the time. God. Sorry, Rhett. Sorry to hear about that, by the way.
IBS is no fun, I got to tell you.
It's no joke.
The Boomcat's looking in the camera there. I think it looks like some first-hand experience.
He's
no joke.
pointing. He's got his pointer out.
Let me tell you.
That's going to do it for this one today.
Wait,
I did
we can't.
yesterday. I've
gotta
done this show. Jesus.
No, we got to end on something positive. You guys want to see my birthday present?
Is it a tattoo?
It's awesome, and I think all the Flames should get one.
Then yes.
Should I get it for you?
Yeah.
Hang on. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
I only have horrible
Okay, so
ideas
what the
popping
hell
into my
could
head.
it possibly be?
What can I say that wouldn't get us in trouble?
Is it something with food? He said the Flames.
Yeah.
The Flames.
This is stupid
needed.
Whoop thing. Remember he had that watch that
The
told
Whoop
him
strap.
about his
All
heart
the
rate and
Flames
sleep.
needed. Maybe it's just a big bag of gummies.
Something to keep him happy.
Yeah, maybe
Something
it's
to
just,
lighten the mood. Maybe Alan Walsh should send a group 23 of them out to Calgary.
maybe it's some sort of a tickler. Some sort of a device that gives you the tickle where you need it most, when you need it the most. I'm not sure. What could it possibly be? Well,
Are you there?
I think
don't think his kids would be. Well,
we can hear you.
We're now going to
Come back to Rhett now.
We're going to come back.
Oh, jeez. The hell is this?
This is a red light mask for your skin and for your body.
Look at this idiot. He looks like some villain from Star Wars.
No, it's called the Cleopatra. It's the Cleopatra.
Are you from the Mandalorian? What the hell's happening here?
Charge your mask. Put your eye protection in the eye slots. Flip the on switch. And then the lights turn on. And
Can we screenshot this,
healthy.
please?
So what does it do for you? Your skin, you said?
The Flames need this?
It's that red light therapy. It's it's so scientific you guys wouldn't understand. It's kind of like but I think the Flames could use this. They're wearing masks because they're stealing money.
Yeah. Is this something you asked for, or was it bought for you knowing just how crazy a person you are?
So my birthday was like end of January, and the shoveler was like, I got you a gift, and I really think you're going to like it, and you'll be excited about it, but it's not here yet. So it showed up the other day, and yeah, she knows how quirky and idiotic I am, so yeah.
Well, I know how big a fan you are of wearing masks over the last few years, so I can see why she thought that'd be a great gift for you. Looks good.
No, it's not just a mask, right? It's the
red light therapy.
It's a treatment.
It's therapy.
It's a treatment.
Yeah. That's what we needed, Rhett.
Thank you.
Going by the looks of you on Afterburner, Boom, you could use a little color in your face. So
I could. I'm wore right down. Yeah, I am wore right down.
You know what, Dean? Take Monday off. What'd you, Dean?
Gonna do it.
Look at him.
Do it.
Look at him.
That looks like a man that's killed someone before. That is a grizzled face.
Health personified right there. That is the picture of health.
Yeah. You could slide a little toothpick in there. That's kind of, you got a little, oh, there's Boom. Look at this. Hey, look at him go.
You
must have been on gummies. I've never seen you that fired up. This is like your body with my energy here. This is something.
I hope we all have that kind of weekend.
Yeah.
Let's all do it.
Love
everybody.
that shirt too. That's snaps for sure.
Back
Vintage.
on Tuesday. Have a great family day long weekend. Enjoy your families.
Afterburner Monday as well.
Oilers.
Following Flyers with Rhett and I.
Oilers suck.
See you, buddies.
Or something.
Have a great weekend.